Hello and welcome to Gallagher's Public Sector Market Minute. Quick answers to common insurance questions. I'm Shannon Gunderman, Executive Director with Gallagher's Public Sector and K-12 education practice. Our guest is Mike Kessler, an Area Vice President located in Dallas, Texas. In today's Market Minute, we will focus our discussion on Lloyd's of London. Well, hello, Mike. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Shannon, and thanks for the invitation. I am pleased to be back for this discussion on Lloyd's of London.
Let's get right into it. Let's talk about Lloyd's of London. It's a frequently mentioned organization, I find, but sometimes there's a little bit of problem understanding exactly what it's all about. First off, is it an insurance company?
Starting at the beginning, I would ask you to think of Lloyd's of London as a place. It has its very own large building. In a moment, the building picture will come up and you'll be able to see it. In an American manner, think of Lloyd's as a mall. Each store in the mall is a different insurance company called a syndicate. By shopping at multiple stores, syndicates, you can find the total amount of insurance you are seeking. Let's assume you need a $100 million placement for property coverage, but due to either unique exposure of the coverage or the time of the year, you find that you can only find this insurance in $10 million increments. So in that case, you would need 10 insurance companies or syndicates to complete the $100 million limit, which Lloyd's refers to as a slip. These syndicates are right next to each other. The second picture, the floor picture, will show you how each large desk is literally a different insurance company or syndicate. They have other people in other buildings, but the initial effort is made in the Lloyd's building at the syndicate desks. The official version is Lloyd's of London is an insurance and reinsurance market. Unlike most of its competitors in the industry, it is not an insurance company. Rather, Lloyd's is a corporate body governed by the Lloyd's Act of 1871 and subsequent acts of Parliament. It operates as a marketplace within which multiple financial backers, grouped in syndicates, we call them insurance companies, came together to pool and spread risk.
So how significant is Lloyd's role in the global insurance market, Mike?
I think Lloyd's role is as significant as its fame. In my opinion, it's the primary innovator of new coverages. Relatively new coverages, such as in the last 20 years, might include cyber, directors and officers, employment practice liability, large excess liability, etc. Lloyd's is one of the first to offer these unique coverages that become commonplace over time. For example, we've all talked about cyber in the last few years many times, yet 40% of entities still do not buy a cyber policy. It's still a growing marketplace.
So you mentioned that Lloyd's is a marketplace to obtain insurance coverages, and you mentioned a couple of insurance coverages. Could you maybe expand on that and tell us about some of the other coverages that would typically be placed through Lloyd's?
Well, I'll just talk about the funny ones that make fame, such as Bruce Springsteen's voice is insured or was insured. Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones, his hands were insured. And maybe the most famous of all, Jimmy Durante's nose was insured. But it all started with ships and their cargoes back in what would be the 1800s. It now includes everything from pet insurance to satellites and everything in between. Reinsurance for almost all policies, from auto to workers' compensation, the reinsurance can be provided by Lloyd's syndicates.
That's quite a range of insurance coverages. Now, I'm sure there's underwriters involved in the marketplace at Lloyd's, and underwriters and their responsibilities have a big part to play in Lloyd's of London. So could you kind of explain to us what underwriters are and what job function they serve?
Well, in the U.S. marketplace, for companies that we're all familiar with, the underwriter is an individual who reviews the risk, reviews his company's or her company's own details about pricing and conditions and then provides the premium quote. The initial wording, underwriter, and then we'll have our third picture come up. It's a slip. I think in this particular case, it was the insurance slip for the Titanic. And you can see that there was a primary person that insured the first layer. The second person wrote under that primary person, and subsequent people wrote under that. So literally the word underwriters is someone who writes under the primary slip of coverage, and it all began at Lloyd's.
This has been a great discussion, Mike. Thanks so much for the clarifications on Lloyd's of London. And thank you all for joining today's Public Sector Market Minute. If you have any questions about today's content, or you'd like assistance in reviewing your own property or casualty insurance program, please contact Mike using the information on your screen.
Thank you.